This week's episode, the final episode of Teen Titans before the Season 3 finale, is one that I don't have a lot to say about. We'll get into this more as the review goes on. But for the most part, this is one of those episodes that you have to see it to understand it. Like the most recent Mad Mod episode. In fact, this episode reminds me a lot of a Mad Mod episode, just with a stage magician theme instead of like a British theme of some kind. In fact, there is part of me that wonders if this was originally going to be a Mad Mod episode and they, for whatever reason, changed their minds early enough in production of the episode they were able to heavily alter the theme of it, obviously. But still, it feels enough like that I do wonder that. While fighting another return villain, so that's 3 between last week's episode and this one. This time it's Mumbo the Magician. The Titans are sucked into Mumbo's hat, which is apparently his own world where he's basically a chaos god who can do whatever he wants. Raven is sucked in first and gets transformed into a cute little raven bunny rabbit, and then the other Titans meet up with her later, confront Mumbo, and because he is effectively omnipotent in this hat dimension, they lose soundly and get transformed into animals as well, save for Beast Boy, who can just turn back. So he gets altered so that he has to transform between objects instead of creatures, which I thought was a fantastic comedic touch. Raven, a couple of times throughout the episode, makes comparisons between illusions and real magic, despite the fact that he's clearly doing real magic. He's clearly gotten his hands on his magical objects again and is able to do real magic with them. Again, there's no conceivable version of what he's doing that's just illusions. I mean, seriously, come on. And it ends with, during a stage show for a bunch of duplicates of himself, which all have slightly different traits, which is going to end with the destruction of the Teen Titans, of course. Raven actually manages to get the best of Mumbo by performing an actual illusion, making use of some paint that's on hand backstage for some reason, and is also real paint for some reason. Paint up herself and the other Titans, but she couldn't have done all of it, so they must have done themselves, so that when they rise up through the bottom of the stage, from the front, from the perspective of the audience and of Mumbo himself, they'll just look like the stage itself, which causes Mumbo to get close enough to them that they're able to blindside him, and I guess distract him enough that his spell is broken and they're able to get out. And then he just kind of goes down real super easily. After that, like, some cops show up. Some of the weird Teen Titans Stormtrooper cops show up. But, like, I still would have expected him to put up more of a fight at the end there than he actually did. But still, it wraps up the episode nicely, and it's a cool moment for Raven. She gets a nice badass moment, even a cool one-liner. And I do like that at the end of the day, it was an actual illusion which managed to defeat real magic. Though, I do have a couple of problems with the logic of that final scene. Like, first of all, as in control of this inside the hat world as Mumbo is, I would expect him to know that the Titans were still actually there without having to go check. In fact, I would have expected him to just not only know that they were there, but also be able to just magic away the paint hiding them. But apparently that's not something he can do. I also doubt that they could have painted themselves up that perfectly so quickly. It just doesn't make sense. But that's what happens when you write your villain as some kind of chaos god who can do effectively whatever he wants. Like, Mumbo in this inside the hat reality has as much control over all of reality as Mad Mod seemed to in his debut episode. Like, for real though, it's not tricks and machinery, it's just a thing he can do there. So, clearly they wrote themselves into a corner and had to come up with a way for the Titans to save themselves at the last second. I don't like it, but it wrapped up an episode which otherwise was really fun. Like, I didn't laugh out loud as often as I did watching this episode as I did watching the previous episode. But I was smiling or chuckling throughout the entire thing, and getting to see the Titans as different kinds of animals was a lot of fun. I definitely think as far as comedy episodes go, last week's episode was more up my alley than this one, but this is a nice last bit of levity before the finale of the season rolls around. But because this episode is so reliant on visuals, I don't really have much else to talk about. I can't really describe anything else without ruining the joys of this episode for people who haven't seen it. So I'm just going to move on. Guys, as per usual, what did you think of... Did I even mention the title of this episode yet? I don't think I did. The title of this episode is like one of the best parts. It's called Bunny Raven, or How to Make a Titanimal Disappear. And that's just... fantastic. Guys, what do you think of the aforementioned episode? If you have seen it, let's get a discussion going in the comment section down below, or over my Discord, link in the description. But either way, this has been AJ22, and I will talk to you guys later.